Yeah, I mean, that was the combination that really got us pumped. Was he was like, I want to do, we were talking a lot about what he had done and what he wanted to do and where he wanted his career to go and the type of versatility he wanted to show in his roles. And when this came across our desk, we're like, oh man, if he likes this, this could be really exciting.
I got a big cat problem. The damn queen of Oldham County.
I'm not sure what I could do about that.
If you're gonna survive in these hills, you need to get used to a little blood.
Why are you putting the screws on me and my family?
Now, I got good, strong boys. They don't have your gifts. I thought I'd give you a chance to work off the debt so I don't put your niece and brother-in-law in a hole.
Eshom, how's it going?
I'm good.
I love the Fat Man poster in the back. I didn't notice that previously.
Hey, we got to get a little bit of both, right?
Yeah.
How's it going?
There you guys are you guys in the same room or different spaces this time?
We'll be in a different space. Yeah.
Okay. It looks similar. The posters kind of measure up. It's like, oh, I don't know if it's a different side of the room or,
Yeah, there's definitely a theme going down.
I'm sitting like right next to him.
Yeah, it's like, no, but we don't want to be in the same camera. So we're just separating in that case. Well, I appreciate you guys doing this. I mean, it was so much fun the first time we had to do it twice, but no, there's like this big corruption with the file, and I contacted Zoom and no one knows what the glitch was. And I was like, no, it was one of my favorite interviews.
Chip, no worries, man.
We're going to do it even better this time.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot half of what we talked about, but so it feels like new anyway.
That's all right. Let's rock.
There you go. How you guys been since last time we talked?
Dude, great.
Excellent.
Obviously, the movie's been out, so that's a different perspective too, because like the film's out. How's been the reception that you guys been getting and all that? I'm curious to kind of hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's been good overall. I think our big thing that we wish we would have probably said a little earlier or gotten out maybe a little earlier is just like what kind of film we were out to make, what kind of film we were after. It's that 70s, Rolling Thunder kind of vibe, revenge dramatic type of film, with some amazing actors that you've never seen do that before, which is what got us excited about it, yeah, that's probably the one thing I wish we probably would have hit the tambourine on a little bit more, or at all. Honestly, yeah, just talking a little bit more about maybe like what got us excited about the script and the actors, in a certain way. You know what I mean?
Do you guys think like the trailer maybe wasn't the way you guys want to construct it, or something that the people weren't getting the grasp of what the film was?
I thought they did a good job in the trailer.
Yeah. I think the trailer was good. It's definitely action forward. I think there's a bit more of a drama in the movie.
For sure. Yeah. More of a family story too.
100%,
But look, distributors got to sell clicks. So I mean, we get it. We totally get it. They're going to put some exciting stuff in the trailer and say, hey, you're going to have a good time and it's going to be exciting. And I felt like they did get a decent enough amount of the family stuff up front. So yeah, no, I liked the trailer.
And look, Magnolia is thrilled, man. It's been performing really well for them, so they're excited. They're really happy.
Yeah, but for those that actually, finally see the movie, it is definitely a family story. There's a definitely dramatic elements, and I thought the drama in the film elevates the performances. You don't kind of see, with all the action happening. There's plenty of action, by the way, but you don't see the deep kind of performance by Orlando, and we talked about Andie's just amazing performance all around. So I think that's definitely something we can highlight here. And, when people are going to see it still, like that might take them back by what they're going to see performance wise. Cause I thought that was definitely the strength of the movie too.
Awesome. I couldn't agree more, man. And I thought, beyond Andie and Orlando that, Scott Hayes, Mona Craig,
Scott Hayes. Yep. Awesome guy.
Garrett Dillahunt, Chapel Oaks, Brian Garrity. We've got such a deep ensemble. That everyone was given 110%, and we really felt like everybody showed up and delivered. We're really excited to get this puppy out to everybody.
Yeah, let's touch again on Andie's performance. Like I know we chatted about it before, but man, I still think about it actually. What a absolute badass turn by her. One of the I was thinking actually, I'm like, that's one of the most intimidating villains I've seen in a year, at least in movies, you know, in general of any genre. You do not want to cross with her in this film. Uh Tell me about that when you guys still kind of look back and watch, and like, are you still kind of caught kind of amazed and off guard about what she actually ended up delivering on screen?
Well, look, Andy's a force, right? You know she
Yeah.
can deliver whatever Andy wants to do, and we were absolutely gobsmacked that she would want to do the role, right, in the first place. So which
Yeah.
they were like, "Hey, Andy MacDowell's interested." We're like, "Wow, this excites us. It gets our juices flowing." We sat down with her. She was wearing a little bit of the big cat in the interview, and
I
it was
love it.
undeniable that she had the appetite for the part. And you know, it's on the screen, man. She came. Big cat's got claws, got teeth. She's savage, and yeah, I think you haven't seen Andie MacDowell quite like this. America's sweetheart is transformed.
100%. You know, I was also curious too. Was that before you got Andie, maybe initially when you guys are putting the script together, was that ever going to be potentially a role for a male, or was this always a female character that you guys wrote for Big Cat? I'm kind of curious actually now thinking about it, because like I could see Andie changing your minds, you know, with an audition, be like, no, we're going a different route here. But was there ever discussions too that this could have been a potential a male character?
I
You know,
can't
when we
speak
got
to this.
when we
I'm
got the
sorry.
script though, it's always been a female. When we
Okay.
got the script, yeah, this is Jonathan Easley's script, obviously,
Yeah.
and it's always been a woman in that role as the antagonist.
Okay. So that clears it up. Okay. I was
Yeah.
wondering if potentially, you know, in early stages when you guys were discussing things and all that, was there like wiggle room maybe until we see the casting? But okay, it makes sense. I think it's more powerful with that strong female character, but you needed to get the right actor to really embrace it and make it come to life.
Yeah, it's possible that it was a male at some point in Jonathan's head, but I
Mhm.
mean, the entire time we had it, it was a female lead, female heavy, female villain, which we really dug. I mean, a lot of the speeches she gives in there are pretty hair raising.
Yeah.
A lot of the action she has in there are pretty hair raising, and we couldn't think of anybody better to do it than Andie MacDowell at this point.
I
Yeah.
think there's also something to be said that you know, it's a little more shocking coming from a woman. You know, that sort
100%.
of barbarism. You know, that she's that savage, that she's got kids, that she's lost kids on the mountain,
Mhm.
and yet she can inflict that sort of heavy duty, you know, countermeasures on her opponents.
Yeah, no question. You know you're a hard ass and tough where you kind of persevere through that and almost don't bat an eye, you know, in a dangerous situation. You know, when your kid's life is at stake too. So that just showed it. And she did her expressions were just spot on throughout too. Like I felt like her facials were great too. I think they told a lot of the story without even her saying anything, you know? You got that feel of intimidation just by you just could have like a still shot of her, you know? And I thought that already told the story.
Yeah, the moment that Orlando pulls up and walks up and she sees him and she kind of calls the dogs off and then
Uh-huh.
gives him a look, turns around and walks back in. You can already see on Orlando's face that he's thinking, "Oh boy, this is going to be a big deal."
I mean, and Andy, look, developed a ton of that with the costume and the makeup people, you know, the hair people. She really had a specific look in her mind's eye for Big Cat. And, you know, and she pitched us a lot of those ideas, and obviously we really enjoyed them. So they're up there
Mhm.
on the screen.
You know, I do wonder if this film had come about 5, 6 years ago or so. I wonder if Orlando would have been, you know, hesitant to maybe take it, or maybe that wouldn't be the genre he would do. We've seen a change in Orlando over the last few years at least. He's doing so many more grittier roles, and like, you know, he was kind of the pretty boy from Pirates and all that, you know, as the good looking kind of young guy. Still looks great, by the way, but like he's taking these gritty roles now, these kind of like hard-nosed characters too. I do wonder if this would be something that would appeal to him, you know, 5, 10 years ago, and now that he's so good at it that we see a whole different side of his you know, not only abilities, but what he can do on screen.
I will say when we sat down with him in 2017 after Small Town Crime, I mean, this was the type of movie he was talking about doing, and we got really excited about that. And it wasn't until this thing came across our desk that we were able to go get him. But Yeah, I mean, that was the combination that really got us pumped. Was he was like, I want to do, we were talking a lot about what he had done and what he wanted to do and where he wanted his career to go and the type of versatility he wanted to show in his roles. And when this came across our desk, we're like, oh man, if he likes this could be really exciting.
Mm-hmm. Does that thing sort of pop for you guys when you see it on screen, like the not only the physicality that comes from him in this role, but just the I think the emotion that comes through with him too. I mean, he's dealing with a lot. There's a guy that's desperate to fight for his family and protect his family. I thought it was a twofold, sort of two-layered performance, not only like physically with the action parts that he kind of delves into it, but also emotionally. Does it kind of pop when you guys are looking at the lens like, whoa, damn, he's really going there and he's really delivering a lot of emotion and energy into this performance.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think honestly, for us, we knew he had the appetite for it, right? And then obviously, once you start seeing that performance through the lens, during the takes, it's exciting, man. He went for it. He worked really, really hard. He transformed his body. He
Yep.
worked tremendously hard with his dialect coach. He went and got a taste of the land, right? He talked to a lot of like local people from the area, from that rural Kentucky area that we shot in. He did the work and it really shows. And honestly, you're right. We every take we got excited, right? Because and then something also about Orlando that's really interesting is that he gives you a ton of range. So when you get to that editing room, it's like you could pick your own adventure. You want a little bit more emotion, a little bit less. I mean, there's so many options that he gives you. So not only are they tremendously great in their performance, but there's a huge spectrum of range that he gives you.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious too, as filmmakers, you guys, when you have such experienced actors and such, actors that have range like Orlando and Andie, and you have Scott and, Brian, you have experienced people here on this cast. Like, do you kind of like sometimes let them do their thing, be like, we're not going to be like pushing for certain things. We trust their skill set, that we give them an idea, they're going to take it there. And you can maybe focus on other things as directors too. Does that make the job in a sense easier, having these sort of caliber of actors where you don't have to be on top of them and guide them through everything, that you kind of give them an idea and you trust that they know where to take it?
I feel like I mean, casting, they say is, 99% of it, or maybe they say 60% of it, but it feels like 99% of it, because if you cast the right person in that role, they're going to do the work, they're going to show up, they're going to nail it. And you may want some adjustments on the day, but it's not per se that they're doing anything wrong when you say action. It's more that you just want a different option after a couple, after maybe a take or two. You're like, okay, well, let's try this, let's try that. Just trying to think, just trying to play with some things that you might want in the editing process. So, yeah, I mean, it's awesome to have amazing actors come in and crush it and do a lot of work to get these roles right, because that's what you're hoping you get. You hire somebody and you're hoping that they put in the time, as much time or more than you are on that character, so they can really nail it down and make it their own.
Mm-hmm. The town, I know we kind of touched on it before, and the conditions dictate what you guys are gonna do too. Did that teach you guys too that sometimes not shooting on a soundstage or anything, that you go to a rural place like Kentucky and you can have all sorts of weather? Did that in a sense harden you guys for future films, or any lessons that you took away, how weather can play a whole different role in what you guys have planned and shoot?
Yeah, I mean, as you pointed out, we shot in Kentucky during the spring, and that can be a temperamental beast, man. We were dealing with tornadoes, lightning storms, rain, the whole works, the whole spectrum, and we lost a couple days of shooting from it, and that just happens. Ian and I tried to shoot. I mean, really, we haven't had any soundstage centric movies. We've shot pretty much everything on location. It's just the nature of what we like. We like practical effects. We like tactile environments. As much as we can get to play and be authentic, I think helps the performance, helps everybody be in the moment. So yeah, I mean, look, it's something we like to do, right? We like to go out there, we like to be in those environments. And I think it has you could feel it in the pictures, you can feel it in the movies.
Yeah, with Fat Man, that's probably the closest we've been able to work on something equivalent to a soundstage, but it was an old closed down chocolate factory that we turned into Santa's workshop. So
Wow.
even that, was an industrialized environment, which is exactly what we were after for Santa's workshop. So even that was sort of, a soundstage, but also sort of an organic environment.
Yeah, but I mean, look, shooting Fat Man -30 degrees weather, you get pretty hard pretty fast shooting in environments like that. It calluses you real quick.
No question. I mean, and as filmmakers, yeah, lots of plan B probably options too,
Yeah.
that you have to go to that you don't necessarily expect on a different shoot. But that's also, I'd imagine, for you guys, part of the excitement too, right? That you don't have this sort of controlled set in a way that, you kind of, I feel like when you're faced with unexpected things, it brings out the best of you, to try to navigate, and like a ship captain, like you hit some rough waters and you see how good you are by seeing how you navigate and collaborate together. Do you guys kind of felt that too, that these obstacles kind of made you better at your jobs, or look more widely into the landscape of everything?
I definitely feel like that's part of it. We feel, pretty battle tested. So
Mhm.
there's definitely not an arrogance when we head into these shoots, but a confidence that we hope we can get the job done under any circumstances. Because, so many times you're after a certain thing, and that certain thing just isn't possible because of either weather or time, and then you're like, okay, well, what's the new great thing I have to come up with it's going to take shorter time, use a different environment and less money, and still be better than the idea I had before.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, Ian and I, very quickly, early on in our endeavor here into the filmmaking, realized that the job is 50% problem solving and 50% actually being creative.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's a an equal scale in those duties.
Yeah, it feels like it anyway.
Interesting. That's, I mean, you only learn that by by going through it. I feel like the best thing to kind of experience anything, any profession, is actually attempting a job. Because like sometimes sitting and listening on the sideline, it's like you need to be in the middle of it. Like even in sports, like you won't learn how to be a great quarterback, or what's your skill set if you're not on the field, making the mistakes or learning about it. I feel like just actual reps are the most important thing, and really figuring out what you're good at and what not, and what you need to improve on.
Man, and to your point, look, the filmmaking is a hugely collaborative, hugely expensive endeavor,
Mhm.
and you get to make, if you're lucky, you get to make one every year. If you're on an average pace, you get to make one every couple years, and that's where Ian and I are at right now. Is that we get to make one every couple years, and that's to your point. That's not a lot of reps.
Yeah.
So you got to get out there, you got to make them count, and Ian and I count our blessings every day that we actually get to go out and make as much as we do. But yeah, the time at bat, it really matters, and you got to make the
Yeah.
most of it.
Yeah, and it's like a prove it thing too. You guys are still coming up. I mean, movies like this will certainly give you a lot more looks, but what do you guys kind of do in that time, that you don't get to shoot constantly? You're not, on a set or doing things. How do you fill the gaps in a sense in preparing? Because that's also, you can't waste time away when you're just waiting for something, because then sometimes you might never get the call. You don't know when. But how do you guys kind of stay ready for the moment too, and prep when you're not on a set?
A lot of it's writing,
Mhm.
Esh draws a lot on his own, but I mean, a lot of it is writing. We're either polishing a project or starting a new one, or doing both at the same time. So and then there's a lot of times there's gigs that'll come up, either a piece of IP or property that we're excited about, that we'll go talk to somebody about or pitch on. We don't do a ton of that, sort of by choice, because you can just be out there pitching constantly and not get anything done. So you try to sort of pick which ones you're really excited about to head out on. Um, and then in the interim, you try to work on as much stuff that you're really excited about as possible, because hopefully, you'll be either making that or it'll get made, in the future.
Yeah, and I think the nature of Ian and I's process is pretty protracted. I mean, look, so for us, there's a writing process, and that's usually 6 months to a year for every project. Obviously, Red Right Hand is an exception to that, but there's still a developmental process, which takes some time.
Sure.
And then you move into the actual pre and production, and that's going to be 6 months to 8 to 9 months, depending on how big the production is. And then there's the editing phase, which is another 6 to 9 months, and then you're out there distributing and doing press and things like that. So it's each one of them is a 2-year journey for us, and that's it's the nature of it. It's the way we like it. We wouldn't have it any other way, but we really enjoy being involved in every leg of the journey.
Yeah, it's such a long process. People might not realize how long sometimes it takes, especially like on, lower budget or independent films, like there's a lot of this work that you guys have to do yourselves. You don't have just stuff to pass off. But when you're towards the end of the process, when it gets to this process, when the film's out there and sort of thing, is it a sense of relief that you're finally done and you can start angling for the next thing, or you sort of miss it too? Like, wow, we invested so much time into this, and now it's kind of the job, in a sense, is somewhat over, or the control that we have over it is over. It's now in others' hands. How do you guys kind of feel when the journey kind of comes to a conclusion, or even the setting where this film is right now, where it's kind of out in the world? You guys are doing some promotion stuff, but kind of a lot of the work is done already.
I think that I think every step of it seems to be somewhat stressful. Just because, we do take a lot of pride in our work. We always try to make it the best that it can be. So every step of the way, whether it's the writing, editing, or shooting process, or the preparatory process, we're always trying to sort of break it off and do as much as we can for the time and the money that we have. And push every, creative that we have in a positive way to deliver 1,000%, and we don't pick creatives that aren't 1,000% invested. So they're always usually there to rise and push with us. And then I think when it comes out, there's another stress of like, okay, how do we need to present this project to be received, in just a proper way, so that people have context for what you've made, and can, enjoy it.
That's interesting, to think about it that way too, but you're there, so I can imagine the stress of it too, because there's every level brings a different challenge, or a new challenge in a sense too. The editing and the shooting, like you have to overcome weather, all these sort of things. It's like each layer, each step has its own new sort of challenge along the way too. So that's really interesting to hear that sort of perspective on it from that side, from your guys' perspective.
That's part of what I think is fun about it for us too, though. It switches so much, it doesn't ever get stale. You're constantly moving in a new direction, or a new faucet of what interests you about the project. So that's one of the fun things about filmmaking, is that it stays really interesting, the
And
whole
I
way.
will say every single one of them, you just learn so much. You just learn so much. There's so many takeaways. After that's part of the fun for Ian and I, is at the end of it, go, okay, well, what did we learn? At the end of this one, how are we going to go into the next one more prepared, better at our craft? That's really the journey here.
That's really important that you guys actually do that, because like there's always lessons to take away, good or bad. Like, oh, we figured this out, or on the next one we learned something. Because if you're not learning from stuff, you're probably like not really in it fully. If you're not taking away lessons, I think that's important for anything that you do, to take away and kind of have these discussions afterwards. Because like nothing's ever gonna be 100%, or how you envision, just because things get in a way that don't allow that to happen. But I feel that's like, it's really actually a good way of looking at it. Like, what did we learn? What are the good and bad after a project to kind of set yourself up for the next one?
Yeah, you've got to be real with yourself, right? You got to be real. You got to be, I have no problems being utterly candid and authentic with each other. And we'll lay it out, and sometimes, hey, that we did well there, but hey, we can improve here. That's just how we work at it,
Interesting. Ian, tell me about your brother. Working with him, I mean, obviously you guys grew up all your lives and know a hell of a lot about each other, but through the work you've done, is there something that you realized about him that you might have not known prior to when you guys were working, as these, sort of journeys in this profession move along? What have you taken away from your brother that kind of stands out to you now?
I guess the inner workings, his inner workings a little more. Obviously, watching him as we grew up, he's the older brother. So, watching him, idolizing him as we grew up, he was a great drawer. He was always great at building things. I was a year and a half behind, so he's always a couple steps ahead of me in a couple of different ways. But, I think just when we started working together, though, when we started writing, and directing and editing together, you could just really see a lot of his strengths, and a lot of them obviously are different than mine. And now we are leaning on each other constantly. It's just, whether he's going through a draft and, some of the, idiosyncratic or eccentricities that he adds to a script, layer our work so much, that, I couldn't do it without him. Similarly with the editing process and the directing process, like, his approach to a lot of that, improves me so much, that it'd be hard for me to say, oh yeah, I can't wait to do a movie without him, because I feel like we're so much stronger together when we're sitting there, as in our mini committee, figuring out what the best approach is to either writing, directing, or editing. We always come up with a stronger idea than I either would have had on my own. Yeah, it always is much stronger with both of us together after a little bit of talking about it in either sect of it. We always come up with, I think, a much stronger avenue forward.
Ash, same thing about same
Man.
question about Ian. What have you kind of taken away and learned about him, over the years kind of working on these projects? It looks like the younger brother's caught up, right?
Oh yeah, no, Ian's an absolute force, and I would say that, like, look, he's been my younger brother, but when you get to our age now, that kind of equals out. But yeah, just really seeing him grow as an artist and being so incredibly talented and tenacious, and his appetite for the work, constantly pushing me to be better. And it's just a wonderful collaboration, and it's just a gift every day to go to work with him. It gets me excited.
And it's a rare thing you guys get to do, brothers to be working and making movies. Was that always the dream too when you guys were younger, that your parents knew you guys are going to be, filmmakers at some point in life? When did that kind of develop, that this is a journey that both of you want to do, not just one of you and one other has a different career? I'm kind of curious, almost from your families and parents' perspective, and where you guys have gotten to.
Well, we growing up together, we always played together. We were the only two kids around because we lived on a 10-acre horse ranch in the middle of nowhere. So there weren't any other kids. We've said this before, but it was literally, get along or be very lonely. So we got along really well. We watched a ton of movies when we were growing up, and I think synthesized our taste of what we liked and didn't like about them. We like different movies at different levels. And times, we'll watch a movie that comes out and we'll have a differing opinion on it. But even the person's opinion about that movie and why they liked it and maybe you didn't, is always interesting and respected. And on the other side of it, making movies together is like, playing G.I. Joe back when we were little kids. It really feels like we're obviously a much bigger scale, but that play is still there. We're coming up with scenarios, we're working together. So I can say that we definitely like worked and played together when we were younger. And so it wasn't, I think, a stretch that we had very different skills, that we found something that we loved that we could work on together. And it's a weird way around saying it, but there was a moment after, at the end of college, my college, that we decided to go do it together, but it was a weird culmination of both of our skills where we started. And now we bleed together so much, in different parts of it, that, we're definitely a lot even more synced up than we were as kids because the art form is so specific, right? But yeah, I'd say there was always the will of working together and playing together, that we really enjoyed that. So it was really fun to find something that we could do together that was really challenging, and fulfilled us creatively, because that's one of the things you're looking for, right? If you're not happy with what you're doing for a living, it's really hard to be creative. It's really hard to be fulfilled when you go to work. A lot of people hate what they do for a living. Like I love what I do for a living. I love hanging out with my brother. I love hanging out with my family. Like, so yeah, I guess that's what you're looking for, right? Is people in your lives that you want to hang out with and work with all the time.
It's really is a true gift. I mean, Ian and I get to go to work and play pretend all day.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's a blessing every single day. I'm like, wow, I can't believe this is real life.
But you guys made it happen. It's like that's what it takes. It takes that drive and the vision. And like I said, you guys mentioned it earlier, good people around you too, to make this all happen too. And you guys have definitely done that. And based on the movies you've done. So you guys have figured it out, the small time ranch, you took you guys places, in your careers, which is, it's a unique thing that you guys have to do, not only just being filmmakers, but working together. So I can tell that's something you guys don't take for granted.
It's been a tremendous amount of work, right? I mean, it's 20 years of pretty relentless grinding To be perfectly candid with you, holding down 2 or 3 other jobs while you're trying to make a living as a filmmaker, it's not easy. You've got to really, really want it. And thank goodness my Ian's there to prop me up during those dark days. And I'd like to think I do the same for him. It's been we definitely support each other, and it's been a real blessed journey.
So important. Have that support. No one can do it alone. If they tell you they did it alone, they're lying, because it takes
100%.
takes a village and people to really believe in you and stick by you, because there's going to be a lot of bumps in the road. And but you guys have navigated. That's the thing. It's getting through that and having that vision and that drive that's clear there by both of you, to make it happen and paid your dues along the way. So I feel like if you pay your dues along the way, the rewards are so much sweeter. It just tastes better when you worked for it really hard instead of it was like given to you or otherwise.
100%. Yeah, it is, man. Those reps, at the gym or at the behind that keyboard. Yeah, when when you see that up on screen, you're like, wow, that was a lot of work, but it's here. There it is. And yeah, it brings an emotional catharsis every one of these.
Mm-hmm. Where can people see the movie now? Where is it out? And if you guys can share any information, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think it's currently cycled out of theaters. It's now on TVOD, which is basically, any of your rental or purchasing mediums, Apple, Amazon, either any place that you Vudu that you consume product, it'll be there waiting for
Video
you.
on demand.
There you go.
Awesome. What's next for you guys? You guys already working on something? I'm sure you are. You never stop. But anything on the horizon or pipeline we can look out for?
Yeah, we've got a script that we are about ready to head out to casting. Hopefully this week we have that meeting that sort of sends us out. It's funded. It's ready to rock. It's called Minutemen.
Yes.
And hopefully we are moving into pre-production on that sucker in the next few weeks. And then there's a giant sci-fi called The Compound that we just finished. That's about ready to head out to the world and hopefully start getting put together, because we're really excited about that one as well. It's a monster of a film, but a lot of fun. It's got a lot of left turns in it.
And we did go pitch Fat Man 2 to us.
There we go. Yes, I love hearing that. Excellent movie. Oh, that's exciting. I can't imagine them saying no to it. So that's cool to know, especially for a Christmas season. Right there.
Who doesn't want to make a Christmas movie?
Exactly. Oh, that's so cool. So you guys are busy at work and good things are happening. So that's exciting. If you guys ever need a day player, someone to kill off on screen, I'm right here. So
you want some squid bags there, Jim? We can wire you up, man.
Yeah, perfect. I'll be a stun dummy or whatever you guys need me for. It would just seem a blast to be on set with you guys. So I'd volunteer to even carry stuff if needed.
We'd have a good time. Absolutely.
For sure. You guys are a blast to talk to. I'm glad we got to do this again. I'm happy to see that you guys are pleased with the movie and Magnolia's happy with it too. So good things are happening.
Yeah, I can't say enough about Magnolia, man. They really they're so honest and truthful, and they really do care about the product. So we can't thank them enough. Yeah,
you guys, that's good. That's a good distributor to be part of too. So they've done a lot of good stuff over the years. So you guys hitched to a good one there. Film's awesome. I'm a fan of it. So hope people see it. It's still out at home. You just sitting around on a night. That's the movie. Red Right Hand. Check it out.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Hey,
thanks for
hope to talk to you guys soon. I know you guys have stuff in the pipeline, so don't be strangers. Let's talk about the other stuff that's coming up soon too.
Can't wait to do it, man.
Hey, take care, boys. All the best. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.